So good morning, class. Okay, so for this session, after the session, the student will be able to understand what is RA 10963 or the train law. We will also I hope that you will be able to identify the salient provisions of RA 10963. And at the end of this session, you will be able to know how to compute for a particular tax. So our agenda or outline for the session. So about R8 10963 or the train law. We'll be discussing the salient provisions of the train law, particularly on the personal income tax, self-employed and professional tax, estate tax, donors tax, and automobile excise tax. To start, the tax reform for acceleration and inclusion, or TRAIN, under the Comprehensive Tax Reform Program, seeks to correct a number of deficiencies in the tax system to make it simpler, fairer, and more efficient. So later on, you will see what are the differences between the tax schedules before and the tax schedules under the train law. Specifically, TRAIN corrects the long-standing inequity of the tax system by reducing income taxes for 99% of income taxpayers, thereby giving them much-needed relief after 20 years of non-adjustment. So yung palang existing before the TRAIN law ay 20 years na. Why 99%? Because if you will notice, we have inverted pyramid for the class. The only the rich occupies the small percentage of the population, whereas the majority, about 99%, are uh, under minimum wage or they cannot be considered as rich. So it also raises significant revenues to fund the president's priority infrastructure programs to reduce poverty incidence from 21.6% in 2015 to 14% by 2022. Now, 70% of the incremental revenues of train will go to infrastructure and the build program of the president, while the balance will go to social services programs. So, as you very well know, the president is pursuing his build program. Yeah, we have infrastructure, road construction projects undergoing, and then the balance will go to social services. So I don't know kung naramdaman niyo yan itong COVID, if you receive an ayuda from your barangay, from the social services, it could be ayuda in form of money or in form of goods. So doon napupunta yung mga kinita. So the revenues, 70% will go to the build, 30% to social services program. So to begin with, one of the salient provisions pertain to personal income. I don't know if you are working or soon you will be working, so you have to understand how to compute your personal income tax. So our income tax also supports the government in their revenue generation. Under the train law, those with annual taxable income below 250,000 are now exempt from paying personal income tax, while the rest of taxpayers, except the richest, will see lower tax rates ranging from 15% to 30% by 2023. So it says here to maintain progressivity, the top individual taxpayers whose annual taxable income exceeds 8 million face a higher tax rate of 35% from the current 32%. So you will see here net taxable income not over 250, zero. So they don't pay any income tax. So 250, huh? But you will also notice here if you are having a net taxable income of 8 million, it has a base tax of 2,410,000 plus 35% of excess over 8 million. So, ito mas marami. Ito siya sabing 99% na low to medium earner will have lower income tax. So let us try to compute for personal income tax. So it says here for a given sample, annual income of husband arising from employment, salary of 652,000. So basic salary, and the husband also enjoys living allowance of 100,000 for a total of 752,000. For the wife, teaching salary is 20,000 per month. Okay? So it says here, remember the effective January 1, this will be our tax table. So let us compute. Let's begin with the husband. So what is the gross income? Salary. So how much is the salary of the husband? 652,000. And we add the living allowance of 100,000 for a total taxable income of 752,000. So let's say for the wife, how much is the annual salary of the wife
20,000 per month.
per month? So in a year, how much is that?
240,
Very good.
240.
Thank you very much. So it is 240. So total taxable income is also 240. Now, let us look for the tax of the husband. So basically, if this is 240, we say that uh, tax is zero because it is below 250. So the wife has zero tax. But for the husband, 752. So let us look at this table. So which bracket does the husband belong? 250 to 400, 400 to 800. So
400 to 800.
correct, 400 to 800. So what is the base? Base tax is 30,000. So on
20,000.
the first 400, he has to pay 30,000. And for the remainder, so 752 minus 400 is 352 times,
25. I
no, it should
30%.
be 30%. No, 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 no. It's 25. Ito, 400 to 800, 30,000 plus 25% of the excess. And that is 88,000. So all in all, the tax due for the husband will be 30 plus 88, that will be 118,000. Did you get it? Let's move to the next. Self-employed and professional tax. So these are, if you are, if you have small business, I call it small or micro business, you're self-employed or a professional, you now have the option to pay a simpler flat tax rate of 8% on gross sales in lieu of the income and percentage tax. Taxpayers can save time falling in line and filing and paying 8 times a year to just 4 times a year. Ano ba itong mga professionals that we are talking here? If you're an accountant, if you're a interior designer, if you're an architect, if you're a doctor, if you are self-employed, if you are, kunyari, you have, before, if you're a wedding planner, events manager, events planner, and everything. So now, self-employed and professionals have two options. Option one, if you are not exceeding 3 million gross receipts, let us have an example computation. So let's say the monthly income of professional interior designer is 50,000. So she has the option, he or she has the option to pay regular or option two, because 50,000 times 12 How much? It is 600,000. So it doesn't exceed 3 million. So let us compute first for the option 1. Regular personal income tax rate. So if the interior designer earns 600,000, it still belongs to the 400 to 800 bracket. So on the first 400,000, 30,000. So 600,000 minus 400,000, that will give us 200,000, and we compute for how many percent? We compute for 25%. Therefore, 200 times 25% is 50,000. So adding 30,000 plus 50,000 multiplied by 8% tax due. Okay, sorry. So 80,000. So let us compute for the tax due for option 2, which is straight computing 8%. So again, from 600,000, we compute for 8% less the 250 receipts in excess of 250. Therefore, 350,000 times how many percent? 8%. So it will give us 28,000. So option 1, 80,000. Option 2, 28,000. Therefore, if you are the professional interior designer, you will choose for option 2, which is 8% of the gross sales less 250.
Sir, question.
Sure. Yes. Go ahead.
When can you choose if you would want the option 1 or the option 2?
When you file already your income tax. So filing yan ay I believe April, di ba? So syempre kung mas mababa sa 250, ibig sabihin nun exempted ulit. So since ito pala ay SCP tax computation for quarterly, so ang binabayaran naman natin dito is the previous years. So April, sorry, March, June, September, and December.
Sir, excuse.
Sure.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah,
Can you
please.
go back again to the previous slide, sir?
Okay.
Okay. You said this is quarterly.
Quarterly payment, yes. So if this is the computation for the annual, so
So we just have to divide into
yeah,
4 to get the
yeah.
quarterly.
Yes.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you.
Welcome.
Sir, question.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost power po kasi kanina. Can we go back to the slide nung sa first example, yung combined? Kasi I'm wondering if we compute for an withholding tax of a married individual or a married couple, same combined income po ba or individual computation?
Individual computation. What you are talking is perhaps the previous computation where we combine the husband and wife's uh, income, and then merong mga deduction, married, with children, etc. But under the train law, wala na, individual na. So, ito yun. So the husband pays 118,000 and the wife is exempted. So kahit na exempted sa income tax, the wife also has to submit an income tax return. So nakalagay naman doon, tax due 0. Okay?
Sir, another
Thank you po.
question. Sorry.
Okay. Sige.
Yeah. Back to the SEP computation again. So you said this is this should be filed quarterly. So meaning the tax rate indicated here, is this the annual rate or the quarterly already?
8% is the annual rate. Kahit, so, annual rate yan, annual rate. So all
Annual.
computation, yeah, annual rate.
Okay. So if we are, let's say, for the 250 to 400, and we are computing for the quarterly rate, so this 20% we will divide into 4,
Yes,
and it will become 5%. Is that correct?
yes, I agree. Kasi kung 20% is the annual, if you divide it by 4, 5, 10, 15. Yeah, 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 you're right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. That's all.
Welcome.
Sir, I have a clarification for this SEP. Kasi 'di ba for professional individuals
Yes,
like this interior designer,
yes.
we compute for the withholding tax at 8% rate pa rin naman on every month or every project that will occur.
Oo.
Bakit siya napunta sa 5%?
No.
Sorry, I was out
Kasi
this
annual eh.
kanina eh.
Annual. If you are talking annually, 8% annually. So if you divide it by 4, parang lumalabas 5%, 5%, 5. Sorry. Did I say 5%?
2%.
2%.
Yes.
Yeah. So in effect, 2% for
Oh,
per
2%.
quarter. Kasi we computed annually. Annually. So in actual,
Mhm.
buong taon, 8% yon. So kung di-divide mo siya sa 4, lalabas lang siya na in actual hindi ito yung sinasabi natin na kahit na monthly is 8%. Kasi 8% annual. Kahit naman sa interest rate, di ba? If you go back to your interest rates, so kapag annual percent is 8% and then half a year lang, 6 months, nadi-divide mo rin yun, 6 months over 12 months. So, uh, 4%, kumbaga, hindi siya monthly rate, it is an annual rate.
Sir,
Sir,
additional
question.
clarification.
Okay, okay.
Yes, that does also apply to the tax rate, which is like, for example, 30,000. We just have to divide it into 4 to get the quarterly tax rate.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sir, question for
okay.
clarification.
Yes.
Sir, with regards dun sa ano, sa income tax, as far as I know, dapat yung siya ay parang back tax siya eh.
Mm,
Kumbaga, kukumpitin mo yung halimbawa 2019 to 2020, ang filing is April.
correct.
Ibig sabihin 2019 April ng 2019 to April 2020, nagtrabaho ka doon. Tapos saka mo makukuha yung gross income mo. Tapos yung payment for the 2019-2020, binabayaran mo siya ng 2020 to 2021.
No. We are using for tax computation, we are using calendar, hindi fiscal year. So when I say calendar, January to December. So if you work January 2019 until December 2019, ang babayaran mo ng April 2020 ay yung kinita mo ng January to December 2019. So tama ka
Ay,
na
yes.
back.
Yes, sir, correct.
Oo, di ba?
Oo.
Yun. Thank you.
Yan, sir. Kasi baka kasi isipin sir, baka kasi naguguluhan din yung iba na baka yung ano, pwedeng halimbawa babayar mag-assumption ng ganun yung tax tapos magkamali sila na ano na forward thinking tapos dapat ay backward yung ng tax.
Ang kinocompute natin,
Hindi
yung
siya
nakita na. Hindi yung kikitain pa.
yung nakita na.
Ano to, correct. Also,
Hindi siya
remember,
interest rate.
kaya para for the purpose of filing, remember, kaya before, kapag may sobra kang naibayad na withholding, binabalik yan. So basically, ang ginagawa ng
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
years is just filing. Wala na silang tax due kasi nakuha na sumobra. Otherwise, sila ang mali ang computation. Ngayon ko, sorry, ngayon ko lang naisip, for the SEP, we can also do this siguro quarterly. I mean quarterly. Yung kinita mo ng January, February, March, babayaran mo ng
March, babayaran mo. Oh.
April, di ba? So parang ganon.
Yes po, yes
Ito
po.
mo na ng
Oh,
April,
sige,
May,
sir.
June, babayaran mo on the next quarterly
Next
quarterly
quarterly. Yes, sir.
due date. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for all your
Yun lang, sir. Yun lang,
info.
sir.
Very good, very good, very good. So we will talk about estate tax. So real estate. Now, you will notice that the old tax rate has the tax table, but now, since it is already, we are now implementing R8 10963, only 6% of the value of net estate. So net value of net estate, we will compute it at the value of gross estate less allowable deductions. So 6%. So R89963 simplifies the estate tax schedule from a 6 bracket schedule with rates ranging from 5 to 20 to a single rate of 6% based on the value of net estate.
Sir, question.
Yeah.
Kailan po binibase na applicable ang estate tax for train law? Is it after the enactment of the law which was 2018, if I'm not mistaken, the time of the death ng like the
Yeah.
person after 2018 po ba, or covered natin before the enactment of the law?
Okay. If you are paying this year, so 2020, so ang basis of the tax computation is the train law. Kasi ito yung amilyar na tinatawag, we pay this annually. So prior to 2018, iba yung tax rate na binabayaran natin. So dati kasi marami ring mga deductions.
Susundin po ba, kailan natin susundan yung train law ng time of death ng owner before
2018.
enactment of the law?
2008.
From the enactment lang po. Pag
Kunyari,
ang death is
kailan
before.
ba na-transfer sa iyo? Kunyari, kailan na-transfer? So prior 2018, iba ang computation. So ngayon, ito na yung computation. We have the train law. Anyway, to proceed, let's say 2 million. There are two allowable deductions, 5 million and 10 million. So yung 5 million is standard deduction. Yung 10 million, if the real estate is, the house and lot is used as a family home. Ano yung family home? Doon nakatira yung buong pamilya. Okay, assuming 2 million, and then the standard allowable deduction is 5 million. So, basically, negative na yan. Even if we compute for the tax rate, it will give us negative. So, dito pa lang, wala na siyang babayaran na real estate tax. For example, 5.5 million, and an allowable deduction natin is 5 million. Therefore, there's a balance of 500,000. That 5,000 we will now multiply for the 6%. And 6% of 500,000 is 30,000. So, ang real estate tax is 30,000. Now, let's move to a family house and lot. For example, 9 million, but the allowable deduction is 10 million. Therefore, negative net estate value for tax purposes only, ha? So, meaning zero ulit. So, straight computation, 6%. Now, for 15 million family house and lot, less 10,000 deduction. So, balance of 5 million, which is the net estate value. We multiply 6%, therefore 300,000 ang estate tax computation. Donor stocks. Pag naman donor stock, ibig sabihin mga gift. So, simplifies the donor stock schedule from an 8 bracket schedule with rates ranging from 2 to 15. At in dati, 2% to 15%. Now, it is simplified to a single rate of 6% of total gifts, again in excess of 250,000. The 6% tax rate likewise applies if the donee if a stranger. Kasi during the old tax schedule, if donee is a stranger, 30% agad of the net gifts. But ngayon, stranger or not, 6% in excess of 250,000. So, sample. For example, the boyfriend gives his girlfriend an engagement ring worth 150,000. So total gift value is 150,000. But since we have allowable deduction of 250, meaning we get the net gift value of 100,000, ibig sabihin, kahit na 150,000 worth yon, it is still exempted from donor's tax. For example, your daddy gives mommy on her birthday 65-inch smart TV worth 100,000 plus a washing machine worth 50,000 and multi-door refrigerator of 80,000. So total gift value 180 plus 50 plus 80, that will give you 310,000. And the allowable deduction is 250. Therefore, ang net gift value is 60,000. And then, in excess of 250,000, we compute for the 6% tax rate. 60,000 times 6%. So our donor's tax is 3,600. For example, mommy gives son on his graduation a Honda Civic car worth 730,000. So total gift value is 730. Allowable deduction is 250,000 for a net gift value of 480,000. So since again we will compute it by 6% tax rate, so ang donor stock is 28,800. Last, excise tax on automobiles. Bibili tayo ng bagong sasakyan. During the old tax rate, up to 600,000, 2%. May bracket. Over 2 million, merong base na 512,000 plus 60% of value in excess. Simplified, eto na ngayon. Up to 600%, flat rate of 4%. 600 to 1 million, 10%. 1 million to 4 million, 20%. Over 4 million, 50%. So let's proceed. So let's say Toyota Wigo, brand new. How much is the value? 730,000. So let us compute for the old tax schedule. So ang bracket ng 730,000 is, eto, second, 600 to 1.1. Therefore, old tax bracket, magkakano ang base?
12,000.
Okay. So 12,000 amount on bracket and excess multiplied by tax rate. So ang excess niya is 730,000 minus 600 is 130. So to compute for the excess tax rate, 130,000 times how many percent?
20%.
20%. 130,000 times 20% is 26,000. Therefore, excise tax due is 12 plus 26. That will be total of 38,000. If we use the old tax schedule. Now, for the new tax schedule, given the same rate, 730,000. So amount in the bracket, again, still 600 to 1. Therefore, the tax rate is how many percent? 600 to 1 million is 10%.
10%.
Therefore, 730 times the tax rate is 73,000. Okay. So, mas malaki ngayon ang new tax schedule tax rate kesa sa dati. Remember that the revenues generated from these taxes napupunta naman sa Build program at saka sa ating mga ayuda sa social work. Now, ito 730,000. Let's say Honda Civic, which is 1.6 million. So, level up tayo ngayon. During the old, tax bracket is this one, over 1.1 to 2.1 million. How much is the base?
112,000.
Very good, 112,000. So, excess multiplied. So 1.6 minus 1.1 is 400,000. And how much is the excess tax rate? 40%, right? Here?
40.
Yes. So 400,000 times 40%, is, mali ah, tama ba? 400 times 4.
Mali po.
Yeah, mali. Sorry, mali ang ating, it should only be 160, right? So please disregard. So 112 times 160, plus 160. So that is the old tax schedule, 160 to 82. Under the new tax schedule, tax rate for 1/6 bracket is 20%. So what is 20% of 1/6? 320. So compared to kanina 161, 272. 272 compared to new tax schedule, mas mahal yung excise tax on automobiles. Pero in terms of income tax, mas favorable
Mas
yung
mababa.
bago. Okay, let's have a review. What is RA 10960? It is known as the
Train law.
train law. And what is the train law all about? You say that the train law is the new tax rates, simplifying the very old one at 20 years na in implementation. And with this RA 10963, it will generate funds for the build project of the government.
Build.
Yes. So that is train law. Who are exempted from paying personal income tax? Who? Meron ba exempted?
Individuals earning 250 and below.
Very good. So if you are earning 250,000 and below, you are exempted from paying personal income tax. But you have to file your income tax. What is the highest marginal rate of personal income tax, especially for those earning 8 million and above? How many percent? So the highest marginal tax rate is 35%. So for those earning 8 million. What is the estate tax rate under train?
6%.
Very good. Thank you, Jerry. 6%. How much is the standard deduction for a real estate property to determine its net estate value? Standard deduction is?
Is it 5 million?
Yes, 5 million. Standard. But if you're talking about family home, so what is the allowable deduction?
That's 10 million.
That will
10
be
million.
10 million, correct. So
10 million.
And 10 million. So up to how much gift value is exempted from donor's tax? Madali lang ngayong
250.
yes, madali lang i-memorize kasi 250,000. Remember that's also the ceiling for exempted personal income tax rate, and it's also the ceiling rate for gift tax, 250, donor's tax. In excess of 250, what is the rate at which to compute for the donor's tax?
6%.
Again, simplified,
6%.
6%.
6%.
Same with the estate tax of 6%. Let's go back there. Yes.
Sir, excuse.
Yes.
Can we go back to the slide before the to the computation, to the last computation page before the review?
1/6 minus 1.1 is 500,000. So 500,000 times 40%, it is 200,000. So 200. So tama pala ito. Ang mali yung dito kanina. Balikan ko lang yung question kanina dun sa professional tax, di ba?
Yung SEP, sir?
Oo.
Yes, the quarterly computation po sana.
So let's say professional, no? Can you see the worksheet now?
Yes po.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let's say gross revenue. So annual or quarterly?
Quarterly po.
Okay, ganito lang, quarterly. Ganito na lang gawin natin. Teka lang, ha? Quarterly. So, kapag ganitong quarterly, ibig sabihin ang babayaran ito first quarter, babayaran di ba sabi ko yung susunod na month. So let us compute given 8%, no? How much? Sabihin natin doon pa rin sa 50%, sa 50,000, magkakano ang gusto nyo?
Mhm.
Example natin. So kung 100,000 per month, sabihin natin 300,000. So total ito ay yan. Okay. So, given 8%, di ba? Ito yung 300,000 quarterly na to, ha? Therefore, 24, kailan ito babayaran? Sa second quarter. Ngayon. Ngayon, let's see. So, Psalm 96. Okay. So, assuming 300,000, we compute for 8%. Therefore, 24,000 will be paid by second quarter. So, income of second quarter will be paid by the next quarter.
So it's 8%, sir, for each quarter, not just the annual.
Pareho rin eh. Ito rin eh. 1.2 kasi 300. 1.2 times 8% is 96,000. So, ang sinasabi ko kanina, if we divide it by 4, 24 nga. So, 8% lang din. 8%. Yeah. So, 8%.
Yun nga sir, kaya
Oh,
kaya I was
tama.
wondering kanina bakit i-divide yung annual rate into
Oo,
4.
tama. So,
Eh, we
8%.
always
Kasi
compute
straight na
for
nga
the
pala ngayon.
base
Straight
rate.
8%. Yes, straight na nga pala ngayon. Simplified, straight 8%. So, it doesn't matter kung quarterly or annually kasi it will give the same total tax, professional tax. So, annually, it's 96. But for quarterly, it will be different. Assuming iba-ibahin natin ha, ganun din. So, 84 ba ito? 84,000. Correct. Babaan natin. Okay. Tanong, meron bang exemption? Therefore, kung ito ay less than 250, dito pa lang, zero na siya. So, 0%. Kasi 200, less than 250,000. So, assuming 100,000. So, quarterly, 8%. So, what if? So, ganito ang ating scenario ngayon. So, ganun din pala. So, 0% din ito kasi below 250. Okay.
Below
So, paano kung ganito? So, first quarter, wala. Second quarter, wala. So, third quarter, wala. Pero fourth quarter, yung fourth quarter mo, may babayaran na dyan. Kasi, bali, ang gagawin na yan is ito total mo na yung annual mo. So, annual, which is 350 times 8%. So, dito ka lang magbabayad ng 28,000 after na quarter 4, meaning next year.
Sir, are we not supposed to deduct the 250,000
Oo nga
first?
pala. Yeah.
Then
Thank
the
you very
balance
much.
will be
Thank you very much.
multiplied by 8%.
Yes. Minus 250,000. Thank you very much. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, so 100,000.
Sir, I also have a clarification.
Yes.
Are we talking about personal filing or with the professional who's dealing with a withholding agent? Kasi 'di ba, regardless naman sa amount kung per quarter ka,
Mm.
it has to be paid 8%. Then magta-tax refund ka na lang kung sakaling hindi
Pwede rin ganun
umabot.
ang
But
filing.
as always, on my personal experience, lagi siyang may tax pa rin.
Okay,
Hindi
correct.
siya magsi 0%
Tama
by
yun. So, in the end, may tax refund. So, we applied 8%. So, 888. Ayan. Pero, since meron nga tayong 250, pwede ba natin itong lagyan ng deduction? Ayan. So, dito wala pa muna ang deduction. Pero dito, so deduction, dito ka mag-deduct. Nagde-deduct na ba rito? Hindi pa, di ba? Dito pa lang ang deduction.
Hindi pa sir, sa dulo na po.
Oo. Equals this, minus this, equals that. Yun. Okay. So, for example, kuha natin to next year. Q1 ulit. So, okay lang ba ito? Ganyan na lang. Para hindi na mas maging komplikado. So, deduction, net. Yan. So, for example, no quarter 1, kumita ka ng 100,000, bayad ka ng 8%. Tama? So, bayad ka ng 8,000. So, quarter 2, nagbayad ka uli. Pero dito, ang babayaran mo na, ito na yung quarter 4. So, 350 minus 250 is 100, 8,000. But since you were able to pay 24,000, lilas natin yung 1,000 equals this minus this. We will call this tax refundable. Tama ba? Correct?
Yes po.
Okay. Babaan natin. Kunyari, bagay, automatic na ito. Kunyari, 50,000. 50,000. 50,000. So, 200 minus 250. So, bali walang, mali na itong computation natin kasi dapat ito ay exempted na. So, meron kang refundable ngayon na 24. Kasi dapat below 250.
12,000 lang sir. Kasi po yung G9 mo na tab, tinype niyo po yung 24 kanina. Kaya hindi nag-automatic.
Oo nga. Ito ba yung sum payments? 12,000. Okay. So, 12,000 ang refundable because basically 12,000 lang pala ang iyong nabayaran. Okay? Pero sa quiz basis is yung total, ha? Para simplified ang ating computation. Pero in actual, ito ang, since quarterly payments, first quarter will be paid on the, dito lang natin, imumove ko lang ito rito. So, ibig sabihin yung tax due nito ay paid dito. Tama na ito para clear ang computation na ito ay para dito, ito ay para dito, ito ay para dito. Ito na yun. So, 100,000. Ayan, ganun pa rin. Zero pa rin. Pero since you paid these amounts, it will be refundable. Sabihin natin dito, 60,000. So, over na siya sa 10%. So, 10%. Kano na yung naibayad? 16,800 ang naibayad. Pero 800 lang dapat ang payable. Therefore, you have a refundable of 16,000. Okay? So, thank you very much. If you would like to thank you for your participation. If you have further, just give me a chat. But thank you very much for your participation.